All right. Well, hi, Tim. It's good to see you again.
What?
Then we have to do a
You are
fresh.
greeting me on my show. Unbelievable. Hi,
It's
Natalia.
my show
How you
now.
doing? It's wonderful to see you again as well. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Ah, yes. Welcome to my show. This is where I interview Tim Siebert of what is it? Universal Brawlers of the Universe fame and clandestinauts, comic artist, and creative extraordinaire.
Oh my goodness. We can't do this. You can't do that to me.
Okay.
So turn it around.
Okay.
Introduce yourself, please, to everybody, because they're going to be more interested
Okay.
in hearing you and learning about you.
Hi, I'm Natalia Poteryakhin. My name sounds like that. It's not a sneeze, it's because it's Russian. I am a 2D director and story artist currently working at Make in downtown Minneapolis, where I'm the director of a little indie series called Sunny Side Down. So that's been my baby for the last like almost 3 years now, and we're releasing it on YouTube. Yeah, and I also am president of a thing called Nice Moves, which is a nonprofit that makes community for animators in Minnesota and surrounding areas. It's also like motion designers, VFX artists, basically anybody who makes moving pixels and images because it's lonely and everyone tends to be hermits. And we try to put on free events for people to come and hang out and do speaker events and teach people about stuff. We offer free mentorship mixers and a salary survey so people know how much money they can ask for. So, this is what I do.
You sound very busy.
That's not even the whole
I know it's
list.
not.
That's not even the
I'm
whole
like,
list.
you're leaving stuff off
I
that list. I
know.
know you are.
I am very busy. I'm like in the busy season of my life ever. It is very often that I'm working a 9 to 9 day, and it's been really brutal, honestly. But it's like I don't mind leaving that stuff in because I like talking to people about it almost on the level of like, okay, like yeah, like what does it mean to be in the animation industry, to like live the life that you pick for yourself at like, 17 or 18, pros and cons and all that stuff. Because a lot of it is self-enforced, right? Like artists, like I feel like, we make ourselves work harder than anyone else because we feel so privileged to do it. But it's gotta have limitations. So I'm trying to still figure out the health balance stuff because I also have like a chronic condition on top of all this. Like I'm prone to like it's this thing called POTS, which is like my automatic nervous system doesn't work very well. And it's so funny because it's like, oh yeah, I have this disease that's like sensitive to stress and overwork. And I'm like, and I'm the busiest person I
Yeah,
know.
you're an
So I've just
animator.
been,
That's your life.
yeah. The only thing that's good about it is you don't really notice POTS if you're sitting down. It really affects your body a lot more when you're standing up because basically my blood vessels are very loose, my blood pressure is very low, so it's hard for blood to stay in my head when I'm standing up. But sitting down, you're pretty much fine. So in some sense, I feel like I subconsciously did lean towards a career that was pretty good for me.
Absolutely.
Like I think all the time, like if I had to like go into like service work or make ends meet like that way, I wouldn't do so hot. So in that sense, I don't know if that makes me work harder because I have the fear in me.
Fear is
Um,
a wonderful motivator.
right, right.
How do you deal with the stress and the, if you, since you say you are, in a certain part of your career right now where you are
Yeah.
working very hard and trying to pushing yourself, right? What do you do personally to help mitigate that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be like a total lie if I left out the fact that I have a wonderful partner who he like will cook dinner by the time I'm home and like do extra laundry and pick up a lot of the slack like around the house and like take care of me if I'm like, oh, I just need to lay on the couch and I'm dying.
It's a job.
So yeah, I know, but a lot of people don't
Yeah.
have that, right? So it's like that's kind of unfair to be like, yeah, I just have this guy. He just like brings me tea whenever I want. So it's pretty awesome. That helps a lot. Second thing is I am trying to be more hardcore about going to the gym regularly. And we have like a little office gym in the building that we work in.
Awesome.
It's not like a part of the studio, but it's like, oh, any tenant of the building can go. And it's funny to see all the lawyer moms in there.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like that's something I really wish someone stressed to me when I was a younger artist was like that we're basically like professional athletes and like the body
Oh yeah.
conditioning is so big. I developed like carpal tunnel when I was in college and that like I had to go to physical therapy for that for a while. And a big part of that is they were talking about like, well, if you have consistent blood flow, like if you're running, if you're doing cardio, like you're gonna pump the inflammation through and out better versus like not only are we like cramping and clenching our hand all day, most artists then don't move our bodies in any other way, so then all the bad juice like stays there. So point is, yes, I will try to go to the gym and like do the boring stuff of run and lift
But what do you,
weights,
I guess
but
that's
it's
my other
good.
thing. What do you do at the gym? Well, like,
Yeah.
what do you like to do at the gym?
Yeah. I used to be afraid of the machines. I feel like that's a very common AFAB woman experience to be like, "Oh, no one taught me how to use the big scary machines. I'm just gonna go on a treadmill." And I would just do that. And it's just like way more boring. And it also I just got lucky that I had a couple summer interns actually at Make that were like gym buffs that were like, we're gonna show you how to use all the machines. And I was like, oh, okay, it's actually way easier than I thought it would be. The whole point of the machine is that you can like sit down and like pull some handle and it does all the thinking for you. But it's like the only part you have to think about is how much weight to put on it. And you just put however much you can handle and then you're done. Like so that's what I've been doing. But also more like on the weekends and stuff. Obviously, I love going on long walks around the neighborhood. I love hiking. I love like nature stuff is just a very summer activity. So it's harder in the winter.
Hear that? And it's been a tough
Yep.
winter. It's been a cold one.
How else did I take care of myself? Honestly, I think just one big thing for me in 2026 is gonna be the classic, like, learn to say no. Like, I'm so bad at, like, feeling like I only have this one life, and I gotta live it, and anytime somebody offers something to me where I'm like, "I could be good at that," like, I wanna take it on, and I'm now at a point where I'm like, "Okay, I think I could contribute better if I'm more focused on a couple things." So, yeah.
Can't believe it. You're such a mature young professional. It's
It
amazing.
was so funny because I saw you doing, like, the Wayzata School's, like, Compass mentorship thing, and I was like, "Well, I went to Wayzata High School. I should
Did
be a
you?
mentor."
You should
Yes.
absolutely be a mentor. Oh my goodness. You'd love it. They're great.
I know I would, but that's the thing that I'm laughing about is I'm like, I literally just talked about how I shouldn't take on more things,
Yeah, but this
but
is a
I'm
fun
already
thing. And
I know. Well, I'm already a mentor through the Nice Moves program, which I do find very meaningful. But the high school program would be so fun because obviously that's a different kind of mentorship than maybe like I'm mentoring more like about to be college grads
Mhm.
right now. So
Well, if anything, bring you to present next year. How about that?
that
You
would
wanna
be
come
super fun.
talk?
Yes.
I'll talk to my people over there because they'd love to have you because they're tired of hearing my spiel over and over and over and over, and they're like, "This guy doesn't have a job. Why are we talking? Why do we gotta listen to him?"
How did you get connected to Wayzata? I thought you didn't go
I
there,
don't
right?
know. I honestly don't know. I swear I could probably dig through emails to find out, but I'll bet you $1,000,000 they asked Kevin Cannon to do it, and he said no, and he said, "You should probably ask this idiot. He'll do it."
I've never met Kevin, and there's all these different Minneapolis creatives where I'm like, I want to get coffee with them and like it sounds terrible to be like mark them off my checklist, but it's like, oh, like I've seen your work for so long, it would be so cool. But okay, yeah. Anyways, wrote me in as a mentor. I'm not even mad about it. Um,
But
I also want
we'll
to
talk
like,
about it. We'll
okay,
talk. We'll see if you
okay.
can we'll see if you have the time. It is fun.
How do you feel like? I feel like it's an interesting question of like, oh, how do you take care of yourself when you have like too much free time?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. It really is. So I am underemployed currently right now. I'm not on a project. I'm on some personal projects and and I'm doing a little bit of freelance stuff right now. Um, but like I go through this cycle when you're on an animation project hard and heavy for 8 months, a year at a time. It's
Yeah.
basically all you think about and all you do, and all your creative energy goes into that. and then it's literally like the next day that's done, and you can do whatever you want. And I like shut down. I go into like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like I do like a 2 or 3 week like depression cycle after I'm done with the job. Like my girlfriend Liz could spot it a mile away. She's like, you're in your 3 week cycle after your job's over and you're doing the thing. You're saying the same things you said last time. I'm like, I
Yeah.
know. So I just gotta get out of it. So, and that usually means as soon as I'm done, I start playing video games a lot, and I
Mhm.
play them late at night, and
Oh,
and then that just makes my whole life worse, right? Um,
classic.
but
Which games, can I
oh,
ask?
I'm a Souls person. I'm Dark
Oh,
Souls, Elden
okay.
Ring, Bloodborne. I'm not any good at them. I am a
Mhm.
cheater. I summon
Okay.
everybody to help me all the time. But I love those games. Those are
You should play have you played the game Outer Wilds?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I just love recommending this game to anyone I talk to. I think it's the best video game ever made.
Really? That's quite
So,
the recommendation. I'll try it. I'll see it. My next
it's not
my next
okay.
no work depression cycle. That'll be the game I play. How about that?
Okay. Also, I will say it's a fun partner game. Like, even though it's not explicitly a partner game, it's an interesting game in which, like, it's like you're constructing your knowledge about the situation and you can totally do it together and just like hand off the controller, even though there's not like a two-player mode or anything like that. So anyways, that could be something you could do with Liz,
Oh,
but it's nothing like Dark Souls. I have no right to recommend this to you. I just think it enriches the life of anyone who
all right.
experiences it. So,
I always need enrichment in my life. But what else do I do? I am a volunteer at a boxing gym
oh
in
yeah,
Minneapolis. I've been doing that for many years now. So I uh, teach kids boxing and just sort of help out around the gym facilities. So I'm at the gym a couple nights a week, and that doesn't mean I'm working out very hard, but I'm usually just sort of around making kids jump rope. So I do that.
I mean, I think it's still definitely way better than like being on your phone or
Well, I'm
being
on my
like
phone when I'm there too.
I'm yeah, I think it's like what everyone's talking about right now, but like everyone I feel like is extra determined this year to be like, oh man, we gotta get off the darn phones. But then with all like the crazy stuff happening with ICE and in Minneapolis, I feel like it's like set everyone back where it's like now it feels like it's so important to be glued to your phone all the time and to see what the news is.
Yeah,
So I'm still trying to figure that balance out too.
it's tough. I was I was doom scrolling it before I turned on this video call. That's what I was doing this
Yeah.
morning. So you're
Yeah.
right. You're a wonderful reminder. I need to throw the phone in the toilet.
Well, it's like, or at least I'm so bad at like being like, oh, I should tell myself like I only have like, let's say 30 minutes to update myself, right? And then you're just like, oh, it was an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I feel like I keep accidentally taking over your interview.
You're better at it than I am, so that's fine with me.
No, no.
Uh
Okay, wait.
no, you okay, go ahead, ask what?
I was gonna be like, I feel like I know you gave a presentation on when you were doing like universal brawlers. But now I'm, like, curious about it again now that I'm, like, in the thick of it, and it's like you have to make all the you have to do all the model sheets, and you get the animation back, and it doesn't always look that good, and you gotta, like, fix it, and, did you go through all of that, or was that more your, like, co-creator? Like, do your yeah.
That was a fun animation industry experience that I had. So when we were doing
Mm.
Universal Brawlers of the Universe, I had my co-creator Kevin Lee, and we were working with our art director at Nickelodeon, and they have a lot more animation industry experience than I did at the time. Again, thinking about how I handled that project now, I'm like, they must have been like, who is this idiot? Why is he doing things like this? Because like now I've worked in animation for the last eight
Yeah.
years, and I'm like, yeah, I did that all wrong. I should have been,
So, I think I'm there now because since it's, like, indie production, it's inside make, and we've never almost none of us are, like, entertainment people, right? Like, we come from a more commercial background. Like, obviously, there's stuff you can learn from other people and I reach out, but it's like we kind of are making up our own pipeline as we go too. And then you find out later, like, okay, yeah, really should have made sure that cup of milk was on its own prop sheet, I guess. Like,
Yeah. I mean, there's those details, but
yeah.
I mean, but you guys are still doing it, right? You're still pulling it off. You're still
Yeah.
getting the product.
Oh, for sure.
So,
For sure.
I mean, that's literally how I mean, animation when you're in the industry, like everyone in there has so much experience that those details have been ironed out to be like I mean, but not always. I mean, I've been on shows where it's like go back into those model sheets and pull those things out and put them on their own, it's like, okay, that's fine. So like I can't imagine you guys are doing any process that's would be like, what are they doing over there? I'm sure it's
That's
fine.
true. I think what's tough is, like, we wouldn't be able to adopt, like, let's say, the full-on Nickelodeon process because we have so, like, few
Yeah,
people, right?
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I think the toughest part is, like, adapting what, like, you wish you had, like, an army of people to do, right? To be like, "How do we pull this off with, like, 10 people in a dream?" So
But you guys are doing it. That's what's amazing about it. I was watched, I rewatched all of them the other day and yesterday, and I was like, "Damn, this show looks good. Damn."
I'm glad.
Like design
Thanks.
is rock solid, it's on point, animation looks great, like sound, writing, everything. It's like I think, you guys just need I mean, I'm not anyone to tell anybody what they need. It's just you gotta get more eyes on it.
Yeah,
And you guys have
yeah.
more eyes on one episode than I've ever had on anything I've ever done. So like, you know,
What? No way. That's not even true. Didn't you work on the Centaur?
yeah, but
Did you work on Centaur
That's
World?
not mine.
Oh, sure, sure. Well, this one okay, this is also a weird thing for me with Sunny Side Down in that, like, our roles are also not as, like, necessarily as well defined as, like, traditional industry roles too, where it's like, um, I would say it's not, like, fully really mine either, like, I get to own it from the director
Sure.
standpoint, but, a lot of the creative was led by my boss, like, Danny Roboshkin.
Mhm.
So sometimes I run into that too, where it's like, "Hey, guys, like, it's not like, this isn't 100% Italian. Like, I'm giving it my all, but it's like, I think it's the same issue that I'm sure any creative person has about, like, well, like, Disney execs have their own point of view too
Mhm.
on what the show should be, so, I would say, like, in that sense, Sunny Side Down turned out to be, like, kind of the perfect crossover of, like, you have, like, Danny and also you had my co-writer, Kevin Wisdom, like, they represent kind of the, like, we actually grew up with the '90s sci-fi cohort, right, where they're, like, in their 40s, and then they were like, "Okay, we're gonna have, like, a Gen Z showrunner," essentially, which is me being like, "I interpret all these things in the, like, post feeding it through the internet lens of, like, they're just all, like, bits of media to cut up and remix, and it's like they exist more in the public consciousness than like any like I'm not doing a good job of explaining this, but the point is I felt like I could have more fun messing up the thing that they grew up with, and they spoke more to the authenticity of what we were referencing because sometimes I would just get it totally wrong and they'd be like, "What are you doing?"
No, funny you bring that up because that's something I was thinking about when I was watching the show. I was like,
Mm.
there's a lot of references to like sci-fi stuff that like I know, like I recognize most of this stuff, but I'm like, huh, interesting. Because I know you're credited as writing,
Yes,
but I was
yes.
like, Natalia, you have a deep knowledge, a deep well of sci-fi uh, tropes from before your time. So that's interesting to, of
I don't mean to say that none of it is
course.
authentic
No, of
because I
course.
did grow up on a lot of sci-fi with my dad, and I feel like especially for me, the most like, okay, I know all of it is Star Wars. Like, I mean, I've seen all of like the Clone Wars animated show. I like watched the original trilogy on repeat with my dad growing up. And, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as, like, a book was, like, really important in my family. So there was actually a while where I had to fight for, our next episode, episode 5 is a Hitchhiker's Guide parody, and, it's funny to also do, like, a parody of a parody, but oh well. Um, I had to, like, really fight for that one because a bunch of, like, people around me were like, Nobody even knows what Hitchhiker's Guide is. It's totally cool if you don't know. I was like, "No, like, people will get it, and then even if they don't get it, it'll be funny." So, I'm excited about that one.
When does that one come out? How
It's gonna be
what's the
probably
release schedule, I guess?
February.
How often do they come out?
Yeah. It was so funny because it was like the I'm gonna, like, backtrack a little to be like, "Okay, we've been working on Sunny Side Down, like, over 3 years now." I started working on it, like, literally my first week on the job, which was its own crazy story I can get into later. Um, but we were always, like, putting it down for months at a time to focus on a client project and then, like, coming back to it. So it's not actually it was never 3 consecutive years, and a lot of times I would be the only person on the project, and, like, everyone would be off doing their own thing, and I'm just like, "Okay, keeping it, like, chugging along." And then it was just kind of this last year that suddenly, like, okay, everyone's piling on to, like, push it out the door and get it done. And so now the release schedule is once a month is sort of how we ended up doing it. There was a time when we were debating, like, do we do one every 2 weeks? And then I thought I might
Yeah,
die,
yeah, well,
so
you would die. You would die.
and it gives me more time to hopefully, like, build a community around it, share behind the scenes sort of idea. So yeah, so we're gonna release one roughly February 18th, I believe. We did end up moving back episode 4 by about a week, so we'll see, but most likely. That's the benefit of having a social media release, is we don't have to be like, "Yes, this is airing on TV this day." Um, and the thing I'm excited about is we're gonna take all the episodes. Oh, yeah, sorry, episode 6 will come out March 18th, and then in April, we're gonna probably put all the episodes together and release, like, a little mini pilot kind of them all stitched, so that'll be cool, and then, yeah, and then it'll be really crazy to figure out what to do with myself at Make after that.
How much normal, non I guess how much normal client work are you involved in over at Make?
It's more and more over the years, which makes sense because
Of
I
course.
started working at Make, like, straight out of school. So I had some storyboarding experience. I had a surprising amount of script writing experience because I went to the University of Minnesota and got a film degree and, like, had done a lot of writing there because the animation side was, like, nobody even knew anything. So it was like I was just continuing to self-teach myself. Um, so I got a lot more out of the film program there, and so then coming in here, it was like, "Oh, everyone's, like, really good at drawing, but nobody feels comfortable writing." So, actually, a lot of what I end up doing at Make is more writing oriented, like, I'm doing the writing on almost all our pitches when we were, like, proposing to clients, like, "This is what, the ad is gonna feel like, this is how we're gonna capture your brief." I do almost all of that. I write like, just actual scripts if we need it. Um, I do a lot of the storyboards for client projects and animatics. Um, Sometimes I'll do design. We literally have a project coming up I'm gonna work on probably tomorrow. I'm gonna do a bit of animation on a project just because we need everyone to swarm onto it and get it done in a day. Because yeah, timelines will be tight, so it's kind of just whatever skill set you have. If you're available, they'll use you.
I just had a good question and then I just forgot it.
Oh,
Mm.
hopefully it comes back. Like, what am I okay, you were asking what I'm involved in on the regular client work and make. I mean, I really love doing animatics the most, like doing boards and animatics. Feels like, I'm learning about storytelling and pacing, and also I just get to draw, which is like happy for me.
Yeah.
It's just annoying because you have to do them super clean, obviously, for commercial. The way I've gotten around that a bit is I've kind of studied obviously other commercial board artists too, where I feel like we figured out that you can make your drawing a bit less clean, but you have to really heavily light it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll like,
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, I hate doing like tight line work, but I don't mind going in and like giving everything glow and blur and like all the depth of lighting to make it feel very cinematic. But then if you just looked at the sketch on its own, you would be like, that's not a very good drawing of a person.
It's a storyboard. It's an animatic. Nobody cares. Nobody's gonna see it.
Oh, they
Oh,
care.
I
They care. They
know, but
say that Snickers bar, it doesn't look exactly like a Snickers bar. Or I mean, it wouldn't be a Snickers bar. It would be something like, whatever their product is.
this
They want it.
Dannon yogurt
Yeah.
cup is not the official Dannon yogurt shape. It's like, yeah, but it just represents the cup. I don't need to go. I
My
don't need to
previous
send myself back into the negative zone. You're flashing me back.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you did any commercial boards.
We no, just that we used to do banner ads for brands and cereal,
Gotcha.
children's cereal. So I want
At least oh, go ahead.
can I move on from
Yes.
Make, and I want to talk about your film
Oh, yeah.
Creator, which you did that all by yourself. How long
Yeah,
did that
pretty
take?
much.
And tell me, uh,
It
what did
was kind of
what did it
like
cost
5
you?
years.
What did that endeavor take from you?
That's very kind, I guess, because that means you must have thought it was pretty good if you thought it cost me a lot.
No,
But
I know that any long-term
yes.
hard project is like, you know, I love to do them. They're
Yes.
great, but they certainly take a toll. Everything comes with a price.
So yes, it was supposed to be like a third year film in college, actually. So okay, I first did the first section of boards for it when I was a freshman in college, and I did it just to apply to like the Disney Story program, which is so funny in retrospect because it's like not appropriate for their like language and look at all. But I did actually get a very nice rejection email from them where they were like, yeah, like this isn't really us, but we do think this is like really cool. So you should just like keep doing this. And I thought that was like nice that it was like personalized at
Yeah.
least. That somebody was like, yeah, this isn't like a Disney storyboard at all. This is just like an experimental film that someone submitted to us. Um so yeah, and also for context, I had written a poem. I had written the poem actually like in one sitting, like I don't know, like 2 hours. And it's so funny in the context of then dedicating my like 5 years of my life, not knowing that that's what would happen. I just wrote the poem because I was like, oh, it would be really interesting to kind of like copy the creation myth. And like I'm an atheist, so it's like it doesn't have any of that weight to me. But to be like, oh, there's something about like I felt very attached to like social media as an artist and like, oh, like do I just draw because like of the audience reception to it? And I was like, it would be kind of funny to like write that from the perspective of God and like does God only like enjoy the earth because humans enjoy it? And like did God make humans to just like enjoy her stuff? And then I layered in all that I would think about would be like doom and gloom about climate change and like environmentalism. I feel like that's always like a theme, and almost all my work ends up having like some kind of environmentalist theme where I'm like, oh my God, we're polluting and ruining everything. It sucks. So then that kind of wove its way into the poem too, where it was like, oh, it's nice to be like God is an artist and she like made this beautiful work of art for the joy of it. And then she couldn't really appreciate it on her own. So she made humans to appreciate it for her. And then she liked that so much, and she liked all the fan art they made so much that she let them like pollute it into oblivion. And like, so I wrote this poem, and then I was like, how long could it take to animate this? Like a month? Like I actually thought I was like, I'll just make like a slideshow version. In my mind, I was like, I'll just focus on making like one nice illustration, animate some small detail in it.
Well,
Like
then
it'll be no big
how did
deal.
it go from that to fully animated, crazy? There's some like camera moves and transitions in that like
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you like? How are you doing this shit? Like that was amazing. Like I
Sure.
guess what
I
how did it change from I'm gonna do a slideshow to I'm gonna
Yep.
go all out on this?
I think honestly it was when I did the boards and like I did the boards for the Disney program and like I guess for me maybe that motivated me of like I wanted it to just be really cool and epic. And also partially like the story itself felt like it lended itself to this slightly almost like one take feeling of like, oh, like, if you watch the short, it's like it has more and more cuts the more and more people are involved. So, like, in the beginning sections, it's all, like, super smooth in all the transitions because it feels like God should be able to, like, bend and warp reality and, like, transition us smoothly through each scene, and then things get, like, more and more chaotic and broken up as time goes on, and then it kinda goes back to being a bit smoother right at the end again. Yeah, so just, like, it was just driven by what I felt like the poem felt like, and then so it's like, as I was actually making it, I just realized it was way more complicated than I had imagined
But that
initially.
complication
Like,
didn't scare you away. That's the part that, like, I'm so impressed at. With anybody that does anything of this scale is, like, there comes a moment in any project where you realize, "Oh, this is gonna be way bigger than I signed up for," and then still
yeah,
choosing to move forward with that is, like, the most admirable thing I can imagine, like, be like, "Well, I guess I'm doing this. I guess I'm just gonna do it." So
I feel like I'd already agreed to do it. One of the things that actually really helped, honestly, is early on, I had shown the boards to my, like, mentors at the time, Emery and Alicia Allen, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, you should make this film." And they said, "We're actually looking to give, like, small little production grants to, like, people working on their films." It was in retrospect, very little money. I mean, it was like, I think I basically ended up asking for some money for Adobe Suite and to pay my composer. And but because I was a college kid, I was like, "Oh my god, they're doing an unbelievable generosity to me." So I remember early on being like, "Oh my god, this film is actually like my nightmare now," but I promised Emery and Alicia, like, I took the money,
mhm.
I have to finish the film, and it always felt like maybe in a weird way, I tricked myself into finishing it because I was always convinced I was only 2 months away from
Oh,
finishing
yeah.
it.
Uh, that's
But every year, it was like, "Okay, well, a whole year has passed, but I swear
if I
now I am 2
if I
months away
buckle
from
down,
finishing
if I
it."
really buckle down, I can finish this in 2 months. Yep.
Another important thing is I started the film right before the pandemic happened. I, like, recorded the audio, like, in a sound booth, like, literally right before the pandemic hit, which, again, it's crazy to think back on, like, wow, like, that was, like, during my college years, like, it was such an interesting, like, pivotal time in my life as it was for many people. Like, had a boyfriend that I, like, moved in with and then broke up with, and then I dated someone else, and then we also broke up, so this film has outlasted 2 two-year-long relationships. Yes, that's also really funny. Like, um, and I'd like to think that I'm with the right person now because I actually felt like with this partner is part of why, again, I was able to finish the film is because I was like, okay, I'm actually really going to buckle down to finish this. And he, again, like took care of all the dishes and was so nice to me. Like he actually facilitated my focus. Back to the whole like when I realized it was kind of big and crazy. It's like I feel like the fact that I was still in school for most of it helped. Like I didn't manage to finish this year, but I was like, I'm gonna finish it as my college thesis film. So then almost all my senior year of college, I was like really grinding on it. Then had the worst mental health crisis of my life. Thought I was gonna have to drop out of college. Like did almost nothing on it for like 4 months. Then I got COVID um, for a whole month, was like bedridden. And then I managed to just screen like a rough animation cut with like maybe 30 seconds final animation at my like BFA showcase. And then in retrospect, crazy that I still managed to convince well, I mean, Danny didn't know I was going through all this at the time, but I was lucky that I got hired at Make because all they knew was that I had been a great, basically, intern my junior year for like 9
That's all
months.
they need to
So they're
know.
like, "Yeah,
That's all they need to
that's all they
know.
needed to know." Healed, got better, went to lots of therapy, still go to therapy, highly recommend, got me very much back on my feet. And yeah, and I started working full time at Make with this unfinished film and I was like, I remember taking my Cintiq with me on a family vacation the week before I started working full time because I was like, I have to finish it before I work full time. And in retrospect, I do regret that because I was like inside the
Ugh.
cabin, like drawing while my parents were like in the sun. But these are the sacrifices that you make, right? And um, I then still ended up taking another 2 years where I basically would work on it 1 hour at a time, maybe like 3 times a week. And then that's how I finished it.
That's how things get done. Believe it or not, that's how things have
Yes.
to get done.
And I always felt like I couldn't drop it because I promised Emery and Alicia that I would finish it.
Well, and you did, and it's
Oh,
amazing, and it's a it's a feat. It's a Herculean task, and it's I don't know. It's I hope you love it as much as you should because uh again, I
it's funny you say that.
what
Well, I was gonna say that's the funny thing is I was gonna say the thing about animation that I think is so tricky is it can be a Herculean feat to make something like kind of mid anyway.
yeah, you know who you're
Like,
talking to?
so yes, I was like, that's the thing that could be so sad. Of like, I really worried about this with Sunny Side Down too, right? Is that we've invested so many years, and I feel that pressure of like, oh, it's really, whether people enjoy it or not is kind of like on me.
Why is that
Um,
on you?
I don't
It's
know.
not
I
on
mean,
you.
I'm directing it or whatever.
Why that's not on you.
Um, but I guess what I mean to say is it takes a Herculean effort to make something mediumly good, right?
Yeah.
Like, with the film, it's tough because I was finishing out a film that I thought of when I was 20, right? And then I finished it at 25. Obviously, there's issues there where it's like, well, I don't know entirely how I feel about me doing my own narration in the film anymore. And some of the pacing is a little too rushed. And like some of the phrasing is maybe a little cliche. But it's like I respected the fact that I didn't want to like go back and start changing all these things because I was like, then I'll never finish. So I was like, I'm finishing it as my past self intended, and now I can make new things, and I'm very excited about that.
I know exactly how you feel. I had the same issue when I was doing a graphic novel when I was 21 years old,
Mhm.
and my mentor, great, wonderful teacher, Vincent Stahl, told me because I was the same way. I'm like, it's not, it took so long that I was not the same person at the end of the project that I was at the beginning. So I wanted the beginning to reflect who I was. And he's like, it's a document of who you were at the time you made it. Like, that's all it can be, you
Yeah.
know? And I mean, I still struggle with that stuff all the time where it's like, you just got to remember it's just where you were at your life at that point. And you've grown and you've changed and you moved and you, you can hopefully you have the same problem 10 years from now when you're releasing whatever's next and that you started today and you're like, ugh, 40-year-old Tim was an idiot, it's like, well, doesn't matter, 50-year-old Tim, you gotta finish it for him. Uh,
True. Yeah, maybe I do always debate like I need to like should I get out of such long form like term projects? Like there's something so nice about when you just do like an hourly comics day and you like turn it around. I was just thinking about how like isn't it hourly comics day today or something?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. It's cool. It's fine if you don't do that kind of challenge, but it's like I was like, well, there's no way I'm gonna find time to fit it in today. I'll see if I can. Um Yeah, I have a, like, new personal project brewing because that's how so you were
That's what
talking
I was
about
gonna
how you
ask. What's
have the
next? What are you doing now?
yes, because I was like, you cope with your post-project crash with the crash and, like, the 3 weeks of depression, and my brain protects me from that by immediately coming up with the new thing. Like, I actually made it less than, like, 2 days since finishing I finished Creator in like mid-February. So I guess like February 10th last year, which is crazy that that's almost a year now since I finished it. And like on the plane to doing like Calendars Portfolio Day with my studio, I was like, oh, I think it's time. I've always really wanted to do like a children's cartoon that's like inspired by the Soviet stuff I grew up on. So like Vinny Poof and like Hedgehog in the Fog and like all this really lovely textured kind of paper cutouty stuff. And I've been really inspired by all the Moho animation
Yeah.
that I've been seeing. I think that's really cool. So I'm trying to get my claws into that. And I also was really inspired by like, okay, at the time, Trump had like, done all the horrible stuff where he was like, oh, there's only two genders, there's only men and women, and like non-binary people don't exist, and like trans people don't exist. And I was thinking, like, is there anything, like as an artist, you feel so helpless of like, is everything I do isn't really that meaningful? Like there's people who are real activists and people who make like a change in their communities, and I just draw pictures. And I was thinking more from the perspective of like, okay, well, they say that representation really does matter, right? Like it's true, like what people see, like gay characters on TV shows and all this other stuff, like it promotes visibility. You feel like you understand their life experience because you can't like literally make people become friends with someone in their community that maybe they don't know, but you can kind of do that through storytelling. So that's all a long-winded way of saying that I was like, the beauty of art is that we can do metaphors that like let people in a sneaky way. I was like, I would love to do a story about a little alien kid named Stevie, the ET, okay? And it's in this alternate Earth reality where they have made contact with the Gorblakians 2 years ago, and they're advancing peaceful relations and intercultural exchange. And so they have like a exchange program for the Earth kids and the alien kids. And so this alien kid goes to live in the town of Puddleport, which is basically Duluth, Minnesota. And they live on Lake Puddle and lives with the community radio show host dad, Lars Larson, who's a single dad with his daughter, Beck, who is super uptight and anxious and rigid. And she's like the Cameron and like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And Stevie is going to be the Ferris of like, they love Earth. They love everything about Earth. They think it's so cool. They just want to learn how to do all the human things, and everything is magical to them. And it's meant to just be this like odd couple duo of like Beck learning to not do things by the book and to like go on these side adventures and see things in a new light as Stevie like pushes all her buttons and like triggers all her anxieties by wanting to run off and look at a ladybug. Um, so yeah, so anyways, and like to do it all in a very like textured analog feeling style with like the crazy colored pencil backgrounds that I grew up with on Soviet cartoons. Um, and to do it all with like this underlying metaphor of like, an alien can cover lots of different ground. Like it can cover my immigrant kid experience growing up like as the kid of Russian immigrants, like eating weird food and speaking a different language at home, all that stuff. But it can also cover like a huge swath of the queer experience and just being like, well, Stevie doesn't come from a planet with the exact same gender roles that we have and doesn't have the same, and I think it would be so cute to put them in like basically like an I Heart Earth instead of New York shirt and like a pink tutu. Yeah.
Where are you on that project? What have you done? Where are
So
you
the
in the
thing that's tricky
process?
there is I'm like, it doesn't really fit in with like anything we're doing at
Yeah.
Make. I mean, we really focus on adult animation. So I really am like, this is my own personal thing that I do outside of work. I got to like a pitch deck kind of stage. I have a finished pilot script. I applied to a bunch of grants on the script, and I'm waiting to see if maybe some people will give me money for the production because I formatted them to be kind of like Bluey length
Okay.
episodes. So maybe a little longer because I know Bluey's like 7 minutes. I'm thinking like it'll be like 8 for the pilot. And yeah, and to hopefully maybe make it a bit more affordable by using some rigging with Moho animation. I have like initial character designs. Mostly I was lucky because I just reached out to a art director that I was vaguely friends with through the internet, and they did some great designs. And then I was like, I don't want to make you keep volunteering without any money, so I'm gonna try to get funding, and then hopefully I can pay them to do more stuff. But otherwise, I'm totally willing to finish out the design of my own. I just feel like the thing that I've learned from Sunny Side Down and that I appreciate is I'm overdoing things alone in my basement. Like I worked on Creator alone the entire time, And there's something very gratifying about feeling like, yes, I can do this. I don't need anyone else. I don't need institutional validation. I don't need money. I can just make it happen. And I think everyone should have that experience. But I'm done with it now. I did it. Now I want to only do things with other people. And there are people who are better at what they do than I am. I feel like I really, yeah, again, I feel confident on the writing, the directing, some of the annoying people stuff of like, I feel really good about managing people now, actually, and like admin and paperwork and funding and trying to just promote the project. And if someone else can take on making it look really pretty, that's great.
That is awesome. And that is awesome to hear. I think because I've known you for a long time. Um,
Yeah.
and
It's crazy to think you've met me when I was 16.
yeah,
I'm about to turn 26. It's been 10
that's
years.
10 years ago. Unbelievable. Um, but what I've enjoyed watching you in your career is in my head, I've always had like, I was like, I know kind of what Natalia's going to end up being. Yeah.
Really?
And it's because you take on leadership roles at Make. It's because you take on leadership roles at Nice Moves. Like, I feel like you have an amazing ability to be not a leader's not even the right word. Like, there's different, different roles in animation. And it's a lot of different people doing a lot of stuff. But you know how to do like I know how to do very little in the animation industry, right? Like I I wish I wish I was more well-rounded, but all my opportunities have been pretty uh entrenched, right?
Would you say it's like design and
Yeah, yeah.
boarding or really
I
just
mean,
design?
I've yeah, mostly just at this point it's just design.
Mhm.
Nobody, you know, and that's as much my own. I could expand out if I wanted to, but I'm old and I like to stay comfortable, so I just go to do what I like to do. But like you've always done things bigger and wanted sort of the whole pie, right? And so I was like,
Yeah, it's true.
over the years I've been like, Natalia's gonna be like running a studio, like,
Oh.
and
That was
I
okay.
think you could do it, and I think you'd be great at it, and I mean, you don't again, that doesn't mean you have to do if you don't want to do whatever you want, but, like, you have
Mhm.
the personality, you have the talent, you have the skill that, like, you should be leading teams to make these creative, uh, these these things happen. And they're very, I know a lot of people in animation, not everybody can do that. Some people who do that don't do that as well as maybe they should. And some people that
Yeah.
should be doing that don't. But I'm so happy that you are on again. I don't know what your path's going to be. I don't know where you're going to end up, but I know it's going to be awesome, and I know you're going to be great at it. And the more you go into like, I don't know, again, could see you leading a very successful team, and I'm very happy to see it, and it makes my heart uh, grow 10 times bigger. I don't know. I'm very happy to see you doing your thing and thriving and doing it well, and also maintaining being a great person and a wonderful, awesome human being at the same time. So
Wow. Well, thank you very much. That was all very meaningful to hear. I mean, first of all, I want to say like that was actually one of the things that shocked me the most and like entering into working at a studio full time was like I had no idea that other people didn't feel like me. Like in my mind, I was like, doesn't everyone want to be in control? Like and like get to do their own stories and do that. And then it's like, no, like people really either like they find that very risky or that like the pressure is really hard, or it's more like they are craftspeople and like they can draw way better than I can, right? And they just want to, like you said, like focus on what's comfortable to them and what makes them happy. And it was nice to kind of realize like, no, this is actually something I can offer to other people is like I can take on a lot of the stuff that other people find excruciating. which is like having to, pitch and present the project, having to organize people, have to make people
Oh,
feel good about what they're doing and all this stuff. And it's also funny to hear all this because it's like, every day, my mom desperately wants me to switch careers, like to anything else. Because it's tough, right? Because I understand in your parents' mind, they're like, if you have all these abilities, like they can make way more money in almost any other field. Um, and also with the industry being where it's at, right? Where it's like I have these frank conversations of like all the traditional institutional funding pipelines are gone and all of the indie ones are such a gamble crapshoot, right? To be like, yep, just completely self fund the thing and hope people throw you some bucks on Patreon. Like, I know every person talks about it, but it's like we gotta figure out a better way to actually monetize creative people's work. Like even indie game developers, like they put their game up for money on Steam, right? I feel like indie animation, like we have this whole struggle of like everyone expects your product to be
yeah.
free before they decide if they're gonna give you money for it.
Well, but then even
So
why
like
give you money
yeah.
for it? Like,
I know.
there's no,
I know.
you're like, well, you made it for free once. Why can't you just keep doing that? It's like, because I'll die.
It feels like in order to like sustain something, like again, like let's say making this kids cartoon that I really want to make, it's like you have to become basically like a full-time content creator of making YouTube videos and making content and gaining a following
Okay.
around the project who also believe in it. That's like a whole other full-time job on top of already trying to direct the
And that's a
project.
whole nother set of skills that like, I think you can do it. I think I know that you could manage that, but I'm the same way. It's like I want to work on the project that I can make good, right? I can make a
Yeah.
good thing. I can do that, but I can't do that if I have to learn how to be an influencer to be able to be
Also, I
granted the
know.
permission to then do the work that I know I can do. Like that's what's super
Yeah.
frustrating because I also like I don't care enough to like I ain't doing that. This project will be for the 10 people that see it, and that's all it's gonna be, and that's fine with me. So,
It's funny to say that on your podcast of your making. So, hi to all 10 people
well,
watching
guess you know
this.
what? Say hi to all the 10 people watching because there's about 10. Thanks,
Lee,
everybody.
Bailey, Sam, thank you all of you. Okay. But no, yeah, but jokes aside, I hope that we like keep talking about this with our fellow creatives and all that because it's like I feel like we could figure it out. I feel like people do want to see cool things that are not AI, that are not the same, things approved by a streamer, whatever. But I do find it tough that in order to do that, yeah, like I could probably build this following online and do all that, but you have to do it through the tech oligarchs that cut 50%
Yeah.
of the ad revenue to themselves. So I'm just like, who's out there? I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. But I guess I have another what? I'll spend another 10 years figuring them out, and then we'll schedule a call to check in then.
Yeah, that'll be and I'm sure you'll have an answer for me.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll be like
I'll be mega
and you'll
famous
say,
and
"Tim,
rich.
here's what you need to do." And I'll be like, "I'm 55 now. I think I'm done." Uh, so
Well, it would be so cool. I would love to, like, have you design on something with me someday. I have no idea what it would be, but, you know, I'm always thinking of you, always love your stuff.
of course, of course, I'd love to. I it's always weird to like I'm sure other people do this, but like I often think like if I ever had I feel the same I'm the same way. I'm like I make dream teams of people I know of like,
Yes,
oh man, if they had ever got any if there was any
I got a
momentum on
million
this,
dollars.
I'm taking it, I'm getting there. And then you're like, man, that would be so great. I would love to live in a world where I got to, work with the people I like and who I respect and who I know would do a good job. And then you're like, yes, maybe just do your work first, Tim. You're putting the cart in front of the horse again. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep applying to grants this year, gonna keep chugging on, gonna make the animatic for the thing. gonna probably start posting about the thing. I just haven't been doing any of that now because right now it's all about the Sunny Side Down hype train. So I guess I have to finish out the call by being like, okay, guys, February 18th, watch episode 5 of Sunny Side Down. A lot of like really amazing coworkers of mine worked on it. Like Munghan Wan had to paint all of these crazy detailed backgrounds that look so nice and um like have great character designers and animators and yeah.
Advice for young creatives
Oh
and
yeah, it's
the
always the
young
question.
Natalia who was 16 years old asking Tim Know Nothing Seaver uh, about things in a Mexican restaurant 10 years ago. What would your advice to her
Mhm.
be?
Uh my advice to me and my advice to other people is definitely different. But I'll start with yes.
Let's go to other people.
Okay, I'll go with other people. Cause like when I don't know the specifics, I feel like I always go to like um in a weird way, I'm almost kind of glad my parents didn't fully support me. Like, I feel like it was the right balance of like, they gave me the resources to like go and investigate things, but they also all the time were like, we really, you should, don't do it. Don't do it. Do something like investigate all this other stuff too. So I think that kind of made me feel like like, you have to like prove that you want it kind of thing. Like, no, it will be obviously like really terrible and really hard um, and that it's one thing to decide to be an artist when you're 18. It's another thing to be like, and now I'm poor. I can't buy a house. Right? Like, so I think you gotta like really think about that and think about if family or other things are more important in your life. Um, but then at the same time that some of my favorite artists and creators always throughout history have been like living through crazy stuff and they make this work that processes their feelings about it. And that I feel like in that sense, being an artist is something that you should never let go of, regardless of what you end up doing for money. And that people like manage to squirrel in their soul in all these different corners. And that you should ask the people in your life to support you so that you can do it and you'll support them with your time and try to lighten the load so everybody can make cool work together. Yeah, I wish there was something more specific to say there, but it's like the specific stuff I would say to myself in the past would be way more like, yeah, you gotta go to the gym, and also also probably that I shouldn't have dated that one guy. I think I could have got more art done.
We've
It was a
we've all
distraction,
got that.
but it's
We
okay.
all learned that lesson. So my recording's still going. So we may be okay. We'll see. I did have one. I think if we can do it, I want to ask one more question. And you sort
Sure.
of hinted at it a little bit in our other questions, but how okay, we both live in Minneapolis, right? You're in Minneapolis. Yeah, you're
Yeah. Yes. I live in Prospect Park under the witch's hat. It's almost St.
oh, so
Paul, but it's
that's
still in
St.
the
Paul.
border.
Isn't that's St. Paul?
No, it's not. I, in fact, am in Representative Ilan Omar's
Then
district.
you're in
So
Minneapolis. We're okay.
I am a Minneapolis
Okay.
resident.
How do you feel? Or I guess do you have it? Let me try to not sound like I'm confused when I'm asking the question. Um, I'll just tell. I guess I'll say how I feel, and we'll see if you have anything to
Sure.
say about this.
That's true. And I'll bounce
So
off of it.
shit in Minneapolis right now is crazy. It's insane.
Okay.
Um, the ice raids here are very discombobulating, and there's a lot of weird information being thrown at everybody all day, every day. Um, as a creative person, I mean, you're not only an animator, right? You're also a cartoonist who does
Yep.
amazing comics that everyone should go read. But you're also a professional, right? And you have a job that you have to work all day, every day with tight deadlines and lots of work. How do you balance the pull to try to make work that speaks to the moment we're in? And
Yep.
like, cause I'll tell you, for me, I'm like, I have freelance stuff I'm working on right now that I'm not going to get done if I don't really, hit it
Yes,
hard.
lock
But,
in.
I'm like, I feel like I need to say something more than
Mhm.
just bitching on Facebook about it. I'm like, I need to make the
Yeah.
best I need to make the best comic in the whole world that
Yep.
brings peace to
It'll
that
change.
changes everything, And I'm like,
People will reshare it to their
yeah,
stories.
and it's like, I don't know if that may be an egotistical urge. It may be me thinking I mean,
No, I feel
I
that.
know
I feel
whatever
that
I
so
do
hard.
is not gonna do anything, but like, you have having your voice be expressing your voice through creative work at a time like this is very frustrating because especially with things moving so fast, like, how do you know, d I know I struggle with how do I even wrap my hands how do I even wrap my brain around on any of this stuff to even be able to express anything? And so what I do is I just get, like, go into, like, shock on it.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, flight I'm it's I do I it's the fight, flight, or freeze. I just freeze, and I'm like, "I don't know, I guess I don't have anything to say." Like, do you feel that as someone who I know is intelligent, compassionate, empathetic, a creative dynamo who wants to express themselves? Like, how do you feel with all this stuff? Because it's driving me bonkers.
I would say it's actually probably my biggest quarrel with professional 9 to 6 life and then sometimes 9 to 9 life if I also have to do animation notes from our like Vietnamese partner studio late at night. um, is it makes me feel emotionally constipated. Like I feel like when I was in college, it's like, you have classes here, classes there. There's way more room to be like, whoa, like something happened to me, happened to the world. Like I want to make something about it. And it felt like I could just like drop everything for 8 hours and just do that. And I can't do that. I can't just like, as much as I would love to, I can't just take a day off to be like, I'm just gonna make this comic, or I'm just gonna write this poem and express myself in this way. And I would love to be able to do that. And that's just one of those weird things you have to balance where you're like, okay, past me committed myself to, I guess, the what I'm doing now, and it's how I earn my living. And um there's too many adult things that demand my attention outside of work in order for me to like I've debated, like, can I just burn the midnight oil to, like, get this comic out? And I haven't done that, but I feel like it's coming soon because I agree. It's like, I feel like I want to do this and I keep looking for the window to do it, and there hasn't been one. Besides, to be fair, it's like it's tough balancing the like, I feel like I've been doing a lot more like direct action of like, there was that really great, uh, like peaceful protest downtown where there's, like, tens of thousands of people potentially, right? And it's so cold, and I did the one where it was, like, -20 below, and it's like you put the hand warmers
Oh,
on your
we were
toes.
there. We were there.
Yep, and I talked to, like, my coworkers, just be like, my non-white coworkers to be like, "Hey, are you safe? Are you good?" Um, that's the thing that honestly really pisses me off the most, and I'm sure it is for everyone to be like, I come from an immigrant community. My parents talked about, like, they were like, like, under Bush, like, while my dad still had his H-1B visa, like, he could just have H-1B visa paperwork to, like, cross the border freely, and they're like, "Yep, it's just pending," right? And now you're just hearing all these stories of people who yeah, like, my family came here legally, not that it even should to me, it shouldn't even necessarily matter because I don't think people have any idea what it takes to come here legally, right? Like if you actually speak to
Mm.
any person who's been through the immigration process, people think like, oh, you just get married, right? And then you can just like move over here. First of all, that's not even true for everyone that gets married. People don't even know that. Um, just read a story of a man who's separated from his wife for no reason right now. Anyways, sorry. What I mean to say is it is unbelievably hard to move to the US legally, and people think like, "Oh, if you just, like, have a college degree or you work hard or whatever, like, they'll take you." No. And, uh, yeah, anyways, and so to be like, there's all these people who are here and have the right paperwork, and they're being actually kidnapped and sent to a concentration camp, like, how are you supposed to focus on making a cartoon when you're like, unbelievable horrors are happening all around me? even saying all this, like, and then I've made like videos and like stuff where I haven't posted them because like even saying all this, I'm conscious of the fact like my parents are naturalized citizens, right? Like I feel they have very successfully created that culture of paranoia and fear of like, what can they do to me? How can they hurt me? Like, how can they hurt my family? So then you think of all your actions through that lens of like, am I on some watchdog list because I exercised my First Amendment rights? Like, that's crazy, but it could be true. And because I have my Soviet Russian background where both my great grandfathers like spent time in a gulag, right? You're like, okay, like sometimes the wrong thing will happen. Like you can't just be like, well, I have this right, and they will respect that right forever. Like they can change their minds in 2 years, and then maybe I don't have a career anymore. Anyways, that's all like really extreme stuff. But I try to remind myself that we're not there yet, and that caving to the fear in advance won't help anybody. And at the same time, I try to be measured about what will actually help. Mostly, I think like donating to mutual aid is a great thing. Like I'm trying to eat out at local immigrant restaurants that I love
And
and
that's
being
such a
like,
hard sacrifice to make,
I
eating
know
at some of the
exactly.
most wonderful restaurants in town. Like, that's what we did all
It's a
weekend. It
good,
was like,
exactly. It's such a good reminder to be like the things that you cherish in your community, they need
yeah,
you like economically, right? So I've been trying to think about it like that's an actionable thing for anyone at any risk tolerance. And then you kind of go from there. We've been meeting our neighbors more, and that's been really great. And the vigil, like after Alex died, was very moving. Like everyone stepping outside of their home with candles. And that's something where I think I will make a comic about that because in my mind, honoring someone who died, it really shouldn't be a political thing, even though it is. So I'm thinking that's something that that's an experience I want to share that felt very local to my lived experience as a Minnesotan of like what it was like to just like step out with a candle and just see your neighbors all leave at the same time. Like, wow.
I agree.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? It's about all I got, but we don't have to go. I don't have to go. But I know you got to eat lunch.
I know. I probably gotta go.
Okay.
But it was really great to do this and I should just reach out to you to be like if you end up being able to make it to some future next those event or something else, or we can also just always get a coffee. That would be good.
Yeah, I always feel so. I see stuff about nice moves, and I don't know if should I go.
It's only if you want to. It's like basically if there's an event that catches your eye, we always do at least one just kind of casual brewery mixer,
Mm.
like once every like 4 months or so. So I feel like those are very approachable to be like, you know, I'll be there and you can hang out and talk to
I
me.
just feel like I don't work. I'm not. I don't feel like I'm an animator. I'm not
Oh,
so like I know I could
I
go and it
guess
won't matter, but like when I have to explain to people like I work in animation, but I don't really animate. I'm not any good at it, and I don't really.
don't worry. There's plenty of illustrators or designers or like I think the people there especially know how broad the industry is, so there's no gatekeeping there.
Yeah, that's. I just.
But also I know a lot of people are just it's hard to get animators to come out to be honest. But have you been to any television events or Draw
We'll
League
go
or
to
anything like
anything.
that? I think you would really vibe with those guys. I think you gotta if you have some extra time from being underemployed, I think you would make a killer television short. Because you don't have to be a great animator. They explicitly want things that are bad and done
Ooh.
within yes, and then they end up being so good because it's a bunch of great animators, like, trying to do things roughly, and then
Yeah.
it turns out great anyways. So anyways, I think they do an open call to us a year. You should check them out. And then they
Maybe.
also do Draw League, which is at a brewery, which is you just play a fun drawing game where you get 15 minutes to draw the prompt, which is sometimes like Sonic's pregnant foot or like that's like a really weird one.
One's a
But
little too erotic
uh
for me.
there was one that was just no, it just depends
Yeah,
on the
of course.
theming. There was one that was all just gardening. So I really enjoy those too. I need to start plugging all the community things soon. It's just my job,
No,
I
that's your
guess.
job. That's what you do, and that's what
It
you
is.
do very well.
Yeah.
So thank you again very much for joining me. Of
Thank you again for doing this. This is really fun.
course, let's
Okay.
get coffee or a beer or whatever you do. I don't know. Um,
Yep. Sounds good.
okay. See you
All
soon.
right. Well,
Bye.
oh, perfect. Oh, people should go to watch my film Creator. Almost no one has watched it, so I'll plug that. People can go and watch it. It's free on YouTube. And my Instagram is Iron Natalia. And yeah.